Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, right now I'm going to reading news of Mount Semeru. Okay, let's start. Penanggal Indonesia December 10. In the wake of the deadly Semeru eruption of Indonesia's Java Island, in the end, bodies of a mother and daughter encased in molten ash have come to symbolize what many living in the shadow of the volcano felt went wrong. There was no warning. If there had been, there wouldn't have been victims, right? Sighed Mina. Overcautioned Rumini, who died clothing her elderly mother as their kitchen roof caved in. Like many Indonesians, they use only one name. Nestled at the base of volcano, their village of Curah Kobokan was among the worst hit when the Semeru spectacularly erupted on Saturday, injecting ash clouds and pyroclastic was that killed at least 45 people and left dozens missing. The eruption of Java's Stealth Mountain has raised questions about the effectiveness of Indonesia's disaster warning system and the dangers of rebuilding on the volcano's fertile but precarious slopes. Officials said some messages were sent to local administration but acknowledged they did not result in an evacuation order, in part because the volcano's activity is hard to predict. Warnings to evacuate are normally delayed by the National Disaster Mitigation Agency, such as in 2015 when it ordered 100 people living near Bali's rumbling Mount Agung to immediately leave the danger zone. The National Disaster Mitigation Agency did not immediately respond to Reuters' request for a comment. In Javanese, the village name Curah Kobokan means pouring bowl, a reference to the river that snakes by it. Once a source of life, the river would also become the community's downfall. When Semeru erupted, the river carried thick flows of lava and ash directly into Curah Kobokan. Now a fight of grey ash built as high as the power lines. A few triangular rows jutting out of the newly formed disaster landscape. Residents say the air grew blazing hot and pitch black in seconds. People screamed and fled in panic, some taking refuge in a prayer house and others huddled in a concrete drain. Of 8 residents Reuters interviewed, not one said they received warning of an impending eruption. If there had been warning, people would have evacuated. Instead, in a matter of minutes, lava streamed down and a lot of people died. The 14-year-old Irawati, whose husband was knocked unconscious as they tried to escape. No time to run! An archipelago of 250 million sitting atop the Pacific Ring of Fire. Indonesia is one of the most disaster-prone nations on Earth. The devastation wreaked by Semeru can be ascribed to a deadly confluence of factors, for which no one wants to take the blame. The head of Indonesia's Geological Agency, Eko Budi Lelono, says Messages were sent to local officials warning of hot ash clouds. The river near Curah Kobokan, he said, was marked red on a map. In the future, we can't blame on another, but we need to synergize more, Eko says. Dino Adalananto of the East Java Disaster Mitigation Agency says the warnings were based on the local resilience officer, but there were no specific orders to evacuate. The head of Curah Kobokan could not be reached. Experts say the nature of the eruption, a cave-in of the lava dome possibly triggered by external factors such as heavy rain, was also difficult to catch ahead of time. Whatever the actual trigger was, it was the instability of this lava dome at the summit that collapsed, and those things are very hard to predict, said Heather Handley, a volcano scientist of Australia's Monash University. Eruptions triggered by lava dome collapse account for about 6% of all volcanic eruptions, says Henley, with more research needed to understand the characteristics and causes. Another causal factor for the tragedy is the reality of life on summer's slopes, where over the decades communities have become inured of volcanic activity, including the summit letting of steam. As disaster officials survey the devastation, some 100 homes damaged or destroyed. There is growing talk about the danger of living so close to the mountain, with Indonesian President Joko Widodo saying at least 2,000 homes will be moved. With 142 volcanoes, Indonesia has the largest population globally living in close range to a volcano, including 8.6 million within 10 kilometers. What needs to be explained to people is the areas where the lava flows. Our recommendation is don't live there anymore, said the geological agency's echo. When they're there, there is no time to run. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.